ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Falakzeeb Khan, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with industry stalwarts interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulae for many. And this is what we aim to make these sessions a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such industry stalwart on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Dr. Ajoy Kurup. Hello, welcome, Mr. Kurup. It's great to have you here with us on FaceTime with Leaders today.
Hello, Falak. Thank you for having me. Very privileged.
Yeah, same here. He's a highly conscientious, competent, and a self-driven human resource professional with in-depth knowledge and hands-on expertise in all areas of the HR function, namely senior management engagement and hiring, change management projects, and the strategic management of labor and employee issues, with a proven track record of achievements. He has a doctorate in psychology from the University of Hertfordshire, London. His leadership skills and people management abilities have always been decisive in his career. Apart from HR functions, his expertise extends to legal aspects and advisory services. His wide skill set also includes technological know-how in the HR and legal domains. Currently, he is working as a senior partner director at Lexis Legal. It's great to have you here with us, Mr. Kurup. Dr. Kurup, could you please let our viewers know what constitutes good leadership qualities?
Leadership. So leadership is a moving target. Leadership is something that is continuous. John Maxwell, in his book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. This is a book that my dad had given me like 25 years ago when I graduated from B school. And I still follow the same thing as far as leadership is concerned. I mean, while there are 24, but there are 2 or 3 which I still follow. So he says that leadership is an everyday thing. Leadership is built every day, not in a day.
Right.
And it's a very deep statement. So we all like to be, leaders quickly, but not realizing that it is a long and painful process of self-discovery. And a lot of people do very well only because they find this out. You have to know very simple things in life, like just listening to people, knowing the people around you. We don't take the effort. Right. And people who do this are the ones who actually fast track to leadership. So my idea of leadership is not a position, right? It's not whether you're a VP or a director, but it's about whether people think you're a leader. And if they think that you are the person they would like to follow. That is, for me, leadership. And I've always applied it in my professional career with great success, I must tell you.
So, doctor, you have had a PhD in psychology. How do you think it has been helpful for you in your career?
Oh, so if you split my career, I would say it has a pre-PhD era and a post-PhD era.
Right.
It almost completely changed the way I approached HR as a function. Earlier, it was very, very transactional for me. It was like getting appraisals done. It was doing recruitment. It is firing people. It is administration and all that. The moment I finished my qualification, I realized that I'm just barking up the wrong tree. And the moment I started operating in a different manner, which is after the PhD, I realized that there are things like, say influence. There are things that you can pull people towards you. There are things that you can give meaning to people's, careers. There are all the softer aspects, which it may be difficult to do, but they are the ones who actually make an impact. So there's a gentleman called Carl Rogers. He's like a guru of psychology. I mean, I also believe in his school of thought. So the Carl Rogers school very simply says that what is most personal is also most universal. Now it seems like a dichotomy, right? How can what is personal be universal? But that is how it is. So if you need to understand an organization, for example, which is a system, right? So a system is a universal thing. So if you need to understand your organization, you need to understand the system. And if you need to understand the system, you need to understand the person up close. Who are you dealing with, right? So you can start with your own team, for example, right? Organization is a long way ago. So once you learn this, I mean, like when I learned this, I found it much easier to get across to people and even to get people to connect with me. So it was no more ordering, right? It was no more telling, do this because I say so. It was more of, this is why we need to do it. Do you think so? Right? And then when people start thinking, you have more brains working on a problem than just one. So I still follow the Carl Rogers school of thought, and it's a very simple funda.
It's a really great thought, actually. I mean, like as you mentioned, like personal and universal.
I'll come to it because even in my PhD thesis, I'd used this. So that's why I remember it so well. So what is a system? If you think an organization is a system, he says system is nothing but a series of interdependencies. So the better you manage the interdependencies, the better you manage the system. So simple, right?
That's really great.
So in fact, much later, there are also people like Peter Senge, who wrote a lot of books, and especially his book called The Fifth Discipline. That was very, very popular. He's propagated the learning organization, the organization which is focused on learning as the main course of doing business, not in the business of learning, but in a learning organization is more effective, is what he said. So I've done that in most of my roles. I'll talk more about it in a while.
So, Dr. Kurup, what has been the biggest accomplishment in your career so far and why?
Like I said, my focus has always been in identifying people who have the ability to learn and to provide the environment to learn. Right? These are two ends of the spectrum as far as my HR strategy is concerned. Everything else falls in between this. Everything, whether you call it recruitment, whether you call it senior management, management, CXOs, leadership development, everything, performance management, learning. So you need to have people who are having the ability and willingness to learn. And you also need to have an environment which is conducive for people to learn. So it could mean fairness, it could mean ease of approach, it could mean simple leadership, a lot of things. But basically it is these two things. So if you ask me what has been my achievement, I would say there are A and B in this, right? A is of course the usual operational things that I did this, I set up a factory, I hired so many people, I put in appraisal systems, I did performance management, which is good because it gives you a lot of bandwidth to do operational things. But the second part is what I mostly cherish, is that I have been able to develop people who have gone on to become leaders. So I'm very proud when I say that most of the people who say, for example, worked in my team or reported to me, when they left, I was the last HR person they reported, if I were to use a word, right? So which means they became HR heads themselves. It could be of not so large companies, but they were HR heads, and that job is very different from being second in line, right? So you should know how to report to the CEO. You should know what the owner wants. You should know what the promoter is expecting. So that is the difference between a leader and a second or third in command. So they don't leave to take up another job. They leave to become heads. So I have like more than 15, 20 such examples. And that is what I pride on, because I actually expose them to everything that they need to know as a leader. When I talk about irrefutable laws of leadership, it is something that everybody in my team have to read books. That's compulsory. So there's no option. Yeah. So whether they like it or no. And this is the way it affects. This is what helps them with it, right? Then they are no more ordinary professionals. So that's the fun part, and I'll enjoy doing that.
Yes,
This is my achievement, really.
definitely, of course. I mean,
And I
thinking.
became the HOD at a very young age, so I know what I'm talking. And I wanted more and more people to do this, men and women both, in my teams. And even till the last assignment, it was the case. And in one case, though, I actually put them in my job itself when I left. So, which also takes a lot of, character, if you ask me.
That's
People have
indeed.
to be ready to do it. So that ability to take that risk, that take that chance is something that I think I've been able to instill in people. So I do a lot of senior management counseling, So people are in higher positions, they are vice president, but they're still not confident of leading people. So conversations with them help them to actually become what they already are, right? By position, they have it, but by inner strength, they are still anxious. So I do a lot of work as a psychologist with them. That's what I do. And that's what I like doing. You can call it
very
coaching, you can
interesting.
call it whatever. But this is the crux of the matter.
So, sir, when we talk about technology, so what are the most significant technological developments you have seen, and how do you foresee the corporate world with the integration of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, Web 3.0, big data, etc.?
It's very clear that technology has been making skills redundant at a very regular interval. Sometimes it's every 30 years, sometimes it's every 50 years, and sometimes it's even every 10 years, right? But the fear is that man will get replaced. To which I think I have my views, and I don't agree too much to that theory. Right from the Industrial Revolution, there was always that machines are here. So there's nothing that man needs to do, but man is still here. Then you had the IT revolution. Computers are going to do everything. Man is going to be redundant, but man is still here. Right? Now it is AI. But I think what's going to get replaced are the skills. Skills will get replaced. Jobs won't get replaced. Jobs will get changed. So you need to adapt to do different kinds of jobs. Right? I remember the time when I actually joined the workforce. It was like one computer and sometimes 2 or 3 people sharing it. And we used to actually run payrolls on that. Right? But look where we are. And that's going to happen. And nothing has happened. Nobody's dead or run away. We're all here. So I have been closely involved with technology transformations right from the days of SAP in R3, to doing HR automation, to doing entire process automation for organizations. So I had the privilege of also being a head of IT in a couple of assignments.
That's great.
And it's a very deadly combination, HR and IT, because once people and machine both come together, and that too under one person, then there is nowhere to run. You have to comply. So and technology will continue to change, right? So I don't think that's something that you need to keep worrying about. Call it by any name, IoT or AI. But you need to know that when the time has come, you need to get up and move, right? Otherwise, some technology is going to take your place. And I think this is good enough for people to be on their toes. Gone are the days that you can sit in a job and retire there. I think that's over now. And the new generation, I can see, is already born with it. So I don't think anybody needs to tell them. It's probably people like us who still need to be reminded, you better keep moving and update yourself, otherwise you are redundant. Yeah.
That's definitely.
So I have personally in 2 organizations completely automated the process of HR. So nobody in HR is involved in just day-to-day mundane things. In one place, we had come very close to getting the retina scan, the retina scan. So you just walk into the office and your attendance is taken. So not even punching, not even.
Yes.
So there's no question of I had come this time, I didn't come. And so that work is gone. You understand? So it's not about reducing the thing. It is like eliminating the thing. And that completely changes the game, and people are free to do other things. I've had people who have moved from HR to sales to customer service, for example, unheard of. Earlier, only people used to come into HR if they didn't have any other job. That is how it used to be 20 years ago, but that's gone. So HR has to make sure that they are at the cutting edge of technology to help the CEO, do other things. It's good fun.
A corporate governance expert, would you mind telling us what kind of perspectives you offer to the corporate world?
So like I said, corporate governance has moved or is in the process of moving from looking inward to looking outwards. They don't need people to tell them, which report needs to be filed when and what rule is applicable to, probably now AI will do that, right? Every month, somebody will just file that for you. But what they need people to tell them is that where are we on our human strategy? Are our people conspiring to, make us fail? Who's going to do this work, right? And is our environmental policy suited to, what the society around us is expecting? Is, for example, our workplace, say, harassment policy effective? Is it really working, or is it just a report-making process? These are things that will become very, very instrumental in how your company is graded. In fact, abroad, I think they already have a point system where they are, they have stock market mutual funds running on, what is the score of a company on, say, ESG. And I'm sure it's probably already here, and if not, it's going to come soon, right? So it also makes sense to really have a better score for more reasons than one. And I personally would like to focus on the S part of ESG because I'm a great ESG enthusiast. And I keep focusing, not now, even earlier, on getting that social aspect, because social aspect is entirely about people. Your people, your vendors people, your customers people, everybody, right? So the area of influence is so large. You have no idea, what influence you can make. And it is this perspective that eventually gets you the business. Why do people buy your products? People have started buying products looking at, how good your ESG scores are. It's like in the movies you find no animals were harmed in the making of this movie. It's become important. People watch it. Right. So that gives you a grade above the rest of the production, apart from just your story in the movie. Right. The same thing is applicable to organizations. And like I said, even the funding that you get from external sources is going to be a big thing in India, because India has completely opened up, and the ease of doing business part is going to become even more applicable, and people abroad are going to put in their money here. And the questions that they're going to ask, like I was telling you, is that, I need to know how my money is getting used. I need to know how your employee is getting treated. I need to know how your company is run or perceived by your customer. These are questions they're going to ask, and you must have answers for it, right or wrong. You can't say that this is not something that we consider important. Gone are the days. So my role is very, very specifically, because all these years I've been in HR, and I understand people pretty reasonably well. And I'm a psychologist by training, if that's not enough. So I see the connection. Yeah. So like I said, there are a series of interconnectedness. You need to know that. So I don't expect a finance guy to do that. I don't expect a factory guy to do that. I expect the HR guy to do it. And if there's any help that's needed in that, that's where I come in. Yeah. It's very easy to preempt and prevent as compared to try to resolve and repair. Big difference. The scale is very different. So you should try and do that before something happens. And that's where good policies and good setups and good relationships in an organization come. Good governance.
Definitely. Indeed, a great thought.
Yeah. It makes a lot of business sense, not just a great thought.
Yes. So as you know, we are building a community of FaceTime with leaders. It is aimed at cross-pollination of knowledge, something that will lead to a robust corporate governance in India, and build a community of non-executive directors for its robust framework. What are your thoughts on the initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Hemal Mehta, and the whole World Development team?
You might have heard of a person called Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo is a French novelist and poet. Yeah, he had made a very famous statement once, that nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. So if an idea whose time has come has arrived, there's nothing in the world that can stop it. So that's what I actually get reminded of when I see this program that you all have started, for independent directors. Because two things are going to happen. At first, I thought that you're probably jumped the gun. You're too early for this. But then I realized that it's probably in the exact time, because two things are going to happen. One is next year, 2024, it'll be 10 years since the first initial, appointing of independent directors have happened. And if you don't know, independent directors are appointed for 5 years, and you can have one more extension of 5 years. After that, you have to retire, right? So that happened in around 2014, and 2024 is going to be, a lot of people are not going to be able to become directors after this, right? So you need a fresh set of directors. And as it is, the ratio is very, very skewed as compared to having, the number of directors required to the number of directors actually there is, I think, like 1/3 or something. So that's one part. Then second part is that in this coverage, the government of India is now making it slowly mandatory for more and more companies, right? Left to our finance minister, she would probably do it, with backdated effect, but I think they're going to give it time, and every year they're increasing the number of companies that are covered. And by next year, it is quite possible they'll make it mandatory for everybody. And if that happens, all hell will break loose. I mean, I don't know how they're going to find independent directors to put so many. Today, public unlisted companies don't have it. Public limited companies above a certain market cap only need to have it. So there are a lot of loopholes. All that will get eventually closed. So it will become mandatory. Yeah, it's like having PF and ESIC, now. It will not be optional. And if that happens, then we are really looking at a numbers game, because I don't think we have that many people to represent on the board. So we are in 2023, right? So I think it's like an idea whose time has come. So congratulations to them. I think well thought of.
It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you, Dr. Kurup, for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. It was great having you here with us today on FaceTime with Leaders, and we hope to see you again soon.